بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. Last week we were talking about some of the issues concerning fasting, and we stopped off where I was talking about Laylatul Qadr. Among the significance of Laylatul Qadr is that the angels get the orders from Allah. The first significance is the angels get the orders from Allah of what they're going to do throughout that year. فِيهَا يُفْرَقُ كُلُّ أَمْرٍ حَكِيمٍ. فِيهَا يُفْرَقُ كُلُّ أَمْرٍ حَكِيمٍ, meaning the angels that are ordered to carry out the duties for anything concerning that particular year are given those commands on Laylatul Qadr. In it, the Quran was revealed from the sky to a place called Bayt al-Izzah. Also, it's called the night of Mubarakah. It's the night that the angel come down. Well, angels come down almost every night. However, in this night, there's a lot of them that come down more than any other night. تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا, meaning يَكْثُرْ نُزُولِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, meaning that the angels come down in a large numbers to this earth. It's one of the grants of it is the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man qama laylatul qadr imanan wa ihtisaban, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbih." Whomever gets up the night of Laylatul Qadr worshiping Allah, the vast majority of that night, Allah will forgive him any prior sins that he does. Among the signs of that night is that there's going to be strong brightness of that night. Strong brightness or nur on that night. Among the signs of that night is there's going to be tama'nina, peace and happiness in your heart for the believers. In a hadith in Ibn Khuzaymah and Ibn Hibban that's authentic, that the winds will be peaceful, meaning it's not going to be a very, very windy night. There's going to be wind, but peaceful kind of wind. A believer feels the pleasure of worshiping in this night. The sun on that night will not be too hot and it will not be too cold. It will be red with light red. There will be light redness to the sun. That's a hadith in Ibn Khuzaymah. The best dua to say on that night is Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. The best dua to say in that night is Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Okay, the last part of the Ramadan that we didn't get to is al-i'tikaf. What's al-i'tikaf, Saeed?
Stay and pray during the night.
Stay where?
You can do it at your house, can't you? Or in the masjid.
How long do you stay?
Overnight.
In Ramadan. How about in Ramadan? Could you stay the whole month? Is there any limit?
I know they do the last 10 days.
Okay. I'tikaf is basically, actually in frank words, is to imprison yourself in the masjid for the cause of worshiping Allah. The kind of Ramadan is the Prophet ﷺ during his life always stayed the last 10 days of Ramadan in the masjid worshiping Allah. The last month, the last Ramadan the Prophet ﷺ died in, he spent 20 days in the masjid worshiping Allah. Some of it is fard. How can i'tikaf be fard and how can it be sunnah? Yusuf, how can it be fard? How can i'tikaf be fard? You can't. Actually, by the way, there's no significant hadith that says if you do i'tikaf, you're going to get this. You know, like man qama laylatul qadr, or man qama Ramadan, or man sama Ramadan. All those, we have hadith that say if you do that, then you get the reward of Allah forgiving all your sins. There's no direct hadith that says about i'tikaf, authentic hadith that says if you do i'tikaf, you're going to get this. However, why do we do it? Because the Prophet ﷺ did that. Nadhr. The fard is when you make nadhr. If you say, if I get an A in science, I'm going to do i'tikaf 2 days in the masjid. That becomes fard upon you. That becomes يُوفُونَ بِالنَّذْرِ وَيَخَافُونَ يَوْمًا كَانَ شَرُّهُ مُسْتَطِيرًا. The sunnah part is like the one in Ramadan, when you go and seclude yourself in the masjid for the sake of worshipping. The pillars.
Has to be in the masjid. Cannot be a house.
Of course, unless you say this is a part of my house.
Sa'id said house, so it cannot be.
Did he say house? You said house?
Somebody said not during Ramadan, but
no, there's no i'tikaf in the house. Actually, that's my next point, which is the pillars of fasting. The pillar of fasting, the pillar of i'tikaf is two. The first one is niyyah. You have to make niyyah that you're doing i'tikaf. The second pillar is what, Sa'id? A masjid. Has to be a masjid. Can't be anything other than a masjid. Some scholars, I don't want to get into the dispute, some scholars say it has to be a masjid that you do a Jum'ah in. Some scholars say no, any masjid that you pray in, 5 prayers a day is fine. Because you probably know in our old countries, and also in past centuries, some masjids they don't pray the Jum'ah in. They pray 5 times a day, but in Jum'ah they say go to the bigger masjids. Some scholars say you have to pray in the Jum'ah, in the masjid in a Jum'ah, where they make the Jum'ah. Some scholars say you don't, but either way, among, like Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah says, both ways, both masjids are appropriate. What are the things, the rules that you must have to do i'tikaf? The first one is you have to be, of course, a Muslim. The second one, you have to be baligh, mumayyiz, tahir. Mumayyiz means you can tell the difference between evil and right, meaning you're elder in order to get the ajr for i'tikaf. Mumayyiz, not baligh. Don't put baligh. The first one is Muslim, the second one is mumayyiz, meaning if you're crazy you don't have to do none of the ordains of Islam, or you're not compelled to do anything in Islam. The third one is you gotta be purified, and that means from janaba, meaning the aftermath of a relationship between a husband and a wife, or like a woman who has her monthly period, or the afterbirth. When do you go, if you want to go this year to the masjid, and you want to do i'tikaf, when do you enter the masjid? If you want to do the last 10 nights, and when do you leave the masjid?
Starting from
When, Dr. Adnan? When do we enter?
The 20th, the night of the 21st, just before Maghrib time.
A lot of people don't know that's how we start our days in Ramadan. It's just before Maghrib for i'tikaf purposes. Before Maghrib. And when do you leave? The Prophet ﷺ used to pray the Maghrib of the day, that the following day is going to be Ramadan. Pray the Maghrib and leave the masjid. That was the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What you do in the masjid, you do any ibadah or nawafil that we're permitted to do with no innovation. After that you prayed the Maghrib. You used to pray the Maghrib and leave the night, like the night of the Eid. Yes, tomorrow is the Eid. He doesn't sit and do Taraweeh. There's no Taraweeh. You're done with. After Maghrib, yes. You do, first of all, prayer. Second of all, tilawat al-Quran, recitation of the Quran. Tasbih, praising Allah, thanking Allah, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, and istighfar. And praise the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And some scholars said also, studying a little bit of knowledge is also permissible, because the Prophet ﷺ taught within those days the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. What you refrain of course, is evil and gossip and backbiting other people and talk that you really shouldn't be saying. It's permissible for the mu'takif, and this goes back to what we're doing in Wayne State today, Yusuf. It's permissible for the mu'takif if he wants to leave for something that's important. Like the Prophet ﷺ left with Safiya radiallahu anha. She came to visit him near the masjid and he wanted to walk her back. And he was walking her back to her house at night. And some people seen him with a woman. She's covered. They didn't see who that woman is. So the Prophet ﷺ told him that was his wife, because it was dark. He didn't want him to accuse him, what's he doing with this woman in this dark night? and he's supposed to be in i'tikaf. So he told them that was his wife. The Sahaba said, it's not you. We would never accuse you. I mean, we just wanted to stay away. So from that hadith you take that the Prophet ﷺ walked his wife back to her house. Meaning, it's permissible for a mu'takif to walk his wife back to her house, or something similar to that. Something close to that. You can, of course, cut your hair, wash your hair, take a shower if necessary, leave from the masjid if the bathroom is outside, leave from the masjid if you gotta go to the restaurant, like in Haram, in Mecca. Remember when we did the i'tikaf? Where are you gonna eat? I mean, you could eat tamar in the masjid and water, but when you need the meal, you gotta go to a restaurant outside somewhere, and you have to leave from the masjid. So these kind of issues are permissible to leave for the masjid, but it shouldn't be long. It should be immediately going back. And all this, one niyyah is sufficient. However, if you break your i'tikaf, you need to renew your niyyah and start another i'tikaf again. What are the things that invalidate the i'tikaf? Number one, leaving the masjid for no reason. If you got no reason, you just say, I want to leave, take a walk. That in itself breaks the i'tikaf. Being a non-Muslim, ridda, saying I'm not a non-Muslim, or saying something that causes you to leave Islam, invalidates al-i'tikaf. Going crazy, if something happens where you lose your mind, or for a woman, hayd and nifas, meaning if she's impure because of her period or after birth, all these things break the i'tikaf. Also, having relationship with the woman. Just because you can walk her back to her home or visit her or sit with her, doesn't mean you can have a sexual relationship with her, because Allah said in the Quran, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوهُنَّ وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. It's also sunnah to have an area in the masjid. If you can build like a little tent or little drapes or something in the masjid, that's permissible to do in the masjid. Or sometimes the Prophet ﷺ did that. Sometimes he just put a mattress and it was known that this area was for the Prophet ﷺ. Anytime anyone went, knew exactly where the Prophet ﷺ was. In fact, when the Prophet did that, his wife also did the same thing in the women's section. They built little areas in the masjid where they can sit alone in privacy and worship Allah. Okay, that's about it on i'tikaf. Go ahead.
First of all, is it mustahab to them to make i'tikaf, or marab to them to stay at their houses?
Wallahi, I would say probably, Allahu A'lam, nowadays for sure it's better. But in the past, I don't know. Nowadays, it's for sure better for women to stay. But if a woman chooses, it's probably the same hukum as a woman going for prayer. I mean, if she chooses to do so, and she's, secluded truly, and the woman's area is very secluded, I don't think a man has the right or should deprive her of that. Like salah. But I think her house is better for her. Because we know that the Prophet ﷺ's wife did that. Did i'tikaf in the masjid. One time he started i'tikaf in the beginning of Ramadan. And he built his area, he put out some curtains or whatever for him to worship in. They went out and did the same thing. So he broke his i'tikaf because he thought it was going to be too hard. The reason he broke his i'tikaf, he thought it's 30 days. If they do 30 days, it's going to be tough upon him. But he never told them, no, don't do i'tikaf. But in the fitan that we see today, I think it's better that they do their worship in their house.
Okay, next question. If somebody snores a lot and he disturbs others, it's better to him to make i'tikaf or to stay at home at his house?
I don't know, Yusuf. Where you come up with these questions? Dr. Adnan, what is it? Tell us about that. I really don't know. If he's disturbing the Musallin, that's different. But if he's sleeping and they're all sleeping...
But it's against the adab of the masjid to disturb Muslims, not during i'tikaf, during any time, let alone i'tikaf. More so for i'tikaf.
So it's better for him to stay at his house?
But he's disturbing, he's not making a matter.
But he comes with these answers.
But there is one thing, I think, Ahmed, you should also mention. You can actually make the niyyah of i'tikaf conditional niyyah. You can say conditional. Oh Allah, if my friend sick, I'm going to visit him. Or if my friend dies, I'm going to go in his funeral, etc. You can make a conditional like this and you can leave. If you made it with your niyyah, conditional i'tikaf.
I'tikaf, even if you don't make it conditional, there's nothing based upon it if you break it. Like I say, I'm going to make a 10-day i'tikaf, and I go 2 days and I get bored of it, and I want to leave. There's nothing that is based upon that.
Yeah, but for example, if you made the intention of your niyyah and you went and visited your sick friend, and you came back to the masjid, you don't have to renew your niyyah. You're already within the niyyah. That's what I'm saying. For example, you can say, oh Allah, if my friend, such and such person, will go to the hospital, I'm going to go and visit him. You go to the hospital and you come back and you don't have to renew your i'tikaf.
Oh, okay. Nah. Renew the niyyah, yes. Also, in addition to that, I wanted to mention is, anytime you enter the masjid, you should have the niyyah of i'tikaf. A lot of the Sahaba and Tabi'in did that. Where as soon as they enter the masjid, even if it's for a short period of time, all it is the niyyah. You say you're going in the masjid to pray or to sit for a halaqah or dars, and you have the niyyah of i'tikaf, inshallah you will get the ajr of i'tikaf. The last thing, and let's... Yes.
You said that you can leave the masjid to go to a restaurant or to go to the house to eat. Is it better to send somebody to bring the food?
If you can do that, that's much better, of course. The more you stay in the masjid, of course, is better. But if there's a reason for you, you can leave. Any more question? Okay, the next thing we want to take, and the brothers who asked about it last week are not here. They wanted me to get some of the mistakes. Remember? They said get some of the mistakes of fasting. And I collected some of them, so let's take them real quickly and end with that. Among the mistakes of the people who fast, is the first one is probably focusing on food. A lot of the people throughout the world, the Muslim world, consider Ramadan a month of food. They go and buy and cook and have meals, and that's their aim and goal, instead of the real purpose behind Ramadan, which is worshiping and asking Allah for forgiveness. The second one is they make suhoor early, meaning they make it, you're supposed to make suhoor as close to Fajr as you can. The closer you make suhoor to Fajr, the better it is. A lot of the people do it the opposite. They say, no, let us put some time, either it's for doubt or for any other purpose. The best thing to do is make suhoor close to Fajr as you can. And this issue in particular, we talked about the proof on it in the second halaqah on Ramadan. Among that also is the ones who do not, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. Among that as well is the ones who do not make their niyyah before the first day of Ramadan. And we said a niyyah in Ramadan is ordained. You must do it. The Prophet ﷺ said, مَنْ لَمْ يُبَيِّتْ صِيَامَهُ مِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَلَا صِيَامَ لَهُ. You have to have the intention before, and as we know, and as we went over in detail, the intention is only in the heart. If you do not know it's Ramadan, let's assume tomorrow's Ramadan, by the way, side issue. If you don't know, if you think tomorrow's Ramadan or not, we go to sleep and we don't have the intention. Then in the morning we find out that it's Ramadan. We didn't have the intention. Or you don't know about it for some reason, you come out of town and they say today's Ramadan. You should stop that day. You should stop eating and drinking that day in honor of that day. And that day you still gotta make up. But as soon as you find out that's Ramadan, you stop doing that. It happened one time in Ashura that one of the messenger, Ashura was ordained. Ashura was ordained, and the Prophet ﷺ said, whomever ate, let him stop and continue his fasting from that moment on. You start your fasting from that moment on. However, that is not considered. You have to make it up again.
What if the whole community doesn't find out? They found out the next day that they missed. Do they prolong Ramadan and
If the whole community did that? Yeah. If the whole community did that, let's assume the Khalifa or the community declared a wrong Ramadan. Everyone follows, for example, and then, you mean late day? Is it a late day or how is it?
Like say Ramadan was tonight, the beginning. beginning. But
Okay.
then they said it's tomorrow night.
That's how you break your fast. You break your fast if you want to. Let's assume tomorrow, they say, how could they say Ramadan's tomorrow without being sure about it?
No, I'm saying tonight, pretend tonight was actually Ramadan.
Okay.
Right? But nobody knew it was Ramadan. Then tomorrow night, they found out that yesterday was the beginning of Ramadan.
They missed one day.
You just make it up after. It happens. Naam?
The whole community just makes it up.
Every single one makes it up. Yes.
So Eid's still on the same day now.
Eid will be, of course. You don't make it two mistakes by saying, okay, we'll add another day at the end. That'll be another mistake. You just declare to the Muslim world, we had a mistake or something happened, and you fast this day.
No kafara for...
There's no kafara for it. Among the mistakes is people think that you don't pray the Taraweeh the first night. For example, if tomorrow is Ramadan, we should, Sunnah, pray Taraweeh today. And among the meanings scholars took is from Man qama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaban, Man qama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaban, ghufira lahu ma taqaddam min dhanbih. Among the meaning of that is one who prays the Taraweeh every single night of the nights of Ramadan. So among the nights of Ramadan is also the first night, which would be, let's assume it's Tuesday, Ramadan is Tuesday, we should be praying Taraweeh today. And the opposite is true at the end of Ramadan. If Ramadan ends on the 30th, 29th is, we stop. We don't make Taraweeh on the 29th. There's people who claim that eating and drinking.
Let me just ask one question. It's like, it's special for this one. We thought that Ramadan is going to be either Tuesday or Wednesday. But now it's covered that it's going to be either Wednesday or Thursday. So tomorrow
we should be on the alert. Tomorrow on the alert, and if it's not that day, the following day for sure, we have to pray Taraweeh. Meaning, if it's not Wednesday, it's got to be Thursday. So Wednesday night, we for sure have to pray Taraweeh. Either way, inshallah, if we live.
When we know that tomorrow is Ramadan,
we pray it when it's confirmed that tomorrow is Ramadan.
Even if it's after midnight or whatever.
I think so. I mean, I don't know of anything that would stop you from doing that, because Salat al-Layl is all throughout the night. There's some people who claim that if you forget and eat and drink during Ramadan, that breaks your fasting. They don't believe, and it's a popular trend among people, that if it's Sunnah, it's okay to forget if you eat and drink and you forget in Sunnah. But if it's Fard in Ramadan, then you have to make up for that day. That's misconception. The Prophet ﷺ declared that in many hadith, whomever eats or drinks in Ramadan, it's Allah who fed him and gave him water, and he did not specify fard or otherwise. Some people, Ibn Baz rahimahullah was looking at it yesterday, he said, if you see someone, we're talking about, if you see someone fasting, I read for some scholars that you shouldn't, tell him, because the hadith says, Allah is the one who provided him with that. So you're stopping him from that which Allah provided him. Ibn Baz said that's for him. Allah did that for him. However, for you, you're ordered with something else. If you see someone eating and drinking, which is ordain the good and forbid the evil. You are ordered to ordain the good for Allah gave him and fed him. That's a different story for him. For you, you see evil in front of you, you got to correct that evil. Some women, and this is a misconception, especially among Yemenis, that they don't put henna while they are fasting. They believe you're not supposed to do that, or that it may be a mufattar that you put henna on while you're fasting. That, and also doesn't consider Ramadan. They don't put henna when they're on their monthly period, and both of them are wrong. You can put henna on while you are fasting and while a woman's on her period. This next one is some people fear that they can't taste the food, thinking that it breaks your fast. And yes, you can taste the food. I said taste the food. I said it today in Wednesday, and they thought eat the food. I said taste the food. Taste the food. It's just a wife tastes it, or a man who's cooking wants to see, is it salty, is it sour, does it have too much lemon on it, whatever it may be. You taste it a little bit, and there's a direct hadith by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma on this matter. Some people claim that miswak should not be used during Ramadan, or you minimize the use of miswak. The Prophet ﷺ used to use the miswak in Ramadan day and night. Some people say you use it during the day but not at night. No, you use it day and night, and you use it more than that excessively. He used to use it excessively in Ramadan, the miswak radiallahu anhu. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Al-Bukhari rahimahullah says, when he makes a comment on this hadith, he said, وَلَمْ يَخُصَّ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم الصائم في غيره. الصائم من غيره. Meaning it doesn't matter if he's fasting or not. Some people, and this concerns the mu'adhineen. Some mu'adhineen, they make the Fajr adhan earlier, a bit earlier. And they make the Maghrib adhan a bit later. And like Yusuf was telling us today, that there's a timetable where he found 20-minute difference between that one and another one. The masjids are right next to each other. And the problem with that is they think that there is a time of doubt where they can, make the Fajr a bit earlier. They say, what's 10 minutes? Make it a bit earlier to be on the safe side. You shouldn't do that. When Fajr, it's time for Fajr, we should put the exact minute in the same with Maghrib. As soon as it's Maghrib, we don't wait a single second after that. As soon as break your fast, and the Fajr, eat until you're sure it's Fajr. We don't have to have times of doubt in between. Among that is when inshallah, you guys are going to be invited a lot during Ramadan. You're welcome to my house. Among that is the dua you make to the people who invite you. And one of them is the Prophet ﷺ started, and it became a trend after the Prophet ﷺ was invited in Ramadan, which is أفطر عندكم الصائمون وأكل طعامكم الأبرار وتنزلت عليكم الملائكة. It's in Sahih al-Jami' al-Saghir. Or you make other general dua. Allahumma at'im man at'amana wasqi man saqana. Allahumma barik lahum fima razaqtahum waghfir lahum warhamhum. Both of those are in Sahih al-Bukhari, in Sahih Muslim.
So what you're saying that this dua just for, you can't say it
No, you say it anytime, but I said it originated, the Prophet ﷺ, when he was first invited to a dinner in Ramadan. Okay, the next one is mistake that some people think you cannot have relationship with your wife in the nights of Ramadan. It's a strong misconception among people that they think that you cannot, even in the nights of Ramadan, you cannot have relationship with your woman. And Allah said in the Quran, أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ لَيْلَةَ الصِّيَامِ الرَّفَثُ إِلَى نِسَائِكُمْ. Another misconception, and it's important for women, some women think that if they're on their period and they think their period is going to continue the next day, and it ends short probably the night before, and they're pure the night before. However, they didn't take a shower. They didn't take a shower the night before Fajr broke out. They think because you woke up impure, that means you cannot fast. And that has another one, the following one to it, to men as well. Some men think that if you wake up impure in Ramadan, or impure from janab, relationship with a woman, or any kind of impurity, that you cannot fast that day. That both of these are absolutely false. She woke up, she's clean, she gotta go take a shower. She take a shower, and her fasting will continue, and it's considered a fasting day. Among the problems in Ramadan is, I don't think in America we have this problem, but we do have it in the country, where people pray the Dhuhr and the Asr together, because throughout the day they're sleeping, and throughout the night they're watching what? Salah, Fawazir. Isn't it? The Tamthiliyat, Abu Ubaidah and Mus'ab ibn Umair, and all these movies that come in Ramadan, or these quizzes that if you answer them fully, you get. There's so many of them, especially the Saudi channel. So many of them, and if you answer them, you win them. One time I won one myself,
I've been watching them every every 2
I think 2 years ago I went with.
With the Sahaba and stuff, they make movies with them.
They're addictive. The problem with them is addictive. Those Sahaba, I can't get them out of my mind. When I was a little kid, the Abu Ubaidah movies, you can't, subhanAllah, they're addictive. Okay, another misconception is that some people think you cannot eat until the mu'adhin is done. The mu'adhin, when does he adhin for the salah? When should he actually? I'm not saying how these mu'adhin do it. When should the mu'adhin call for salah? When the prayer enters, the time for the prayer enters. Some people say, we'll wait till the adhan is over, then we will break our fast. No. As soon as the adhan enters, a righteously mu'adhin will call the adhan as soon as the time is entered. As soon as time is entered, you can break your fast while he's calling for the adhan. But, don't occupy yourself with eating and drinking and miss out on the ajr of saying behind the mu'adhin that which he says.
Say you're at the masjid and mu'adhin doesn't call it, he waits 5 minutes and you know that it's time to eat and you start eating. Is it better just to wait, just not to cause like any kind of fitna because people might think you're...
Wait, why?
And wait until they call that done? Just in case people are going to look at you.
And before, well...
Or should you tell everybody, it's time to break?
Well, you should ordain the good and forbid the evil. But if it's going to cause, like the ignorance today in our masjid, if it's going to cause a problem, then yes, don't cause a problem. We shouldn't start a fitna over something like that, but maybe delay yourself. Don't enter the masjid till after, I think. But it's not going to cause a fitna, break your fast in front of them. You going to say something, doctor? Go ahead.
When the mu'adhin breaks, is that before he calls adhan or after he's done?
He makes adhan and he eats something. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, I've seen some people do that. They could either do that or...
Sometimes they can't really do that.
They can't, they wait. You don't have to eat on the spot, You have an excuse because you're the mu'adhin. Okay, among that problems that we have in Ramadan is people don't take advantage of the dua before you break your fast. This is a golden moments, golden opportunity, golden moments of your lifetime. Make dua before you break your fast because it's one of the dua that the Prophet ﷺ said your dua be accepted. In a hadith narrated by Ahmad and Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah authenticated, it said 3 people that Allah will not let down their da'wah. One of them is the parents, and the second one is the one who's fasting, and the third one is one who's on a journey. Among the problems we have in Ramadan is people in the last 10 days busy and occupy themselves with the Eid, instead of taking advantage of the golden opportunity of the last 10 days of the Ramadan. In fact, the odd nights of Ramadan, which Laylat al-Qadr, will be in one of them. Among the problems we have is that when young people want to fast, we tell them, no, don't fast, it's too hard upon you. We deter young people from fasting. They can fast as young as they can, as young as possible. Fasting will not harm them, and in fact it's good for them. In fact, we have a hadith by some of the Sahaba when the Prophet ﷺ ordered them to fast. They used to take their kids and build them little toys in the masjid so they can play with them and occupy themselves with it until Maghrib comes. And once you got a person that you train him like that from when he's a little kid, he never leave fasting after that. So we should never deter young people from fasting. Also, we need to control our temper and our mouths. That's something we overlook a lot of the time, especially, now Ramadan is easy. It comes almost in winter. It's not as bad. But when it's in summer, you're stressful, you're thirsty, you're hungry. I remember in Saudi when it was about maybe 15, 20 years ago when my father was there, people are almost dying from thirst. And they take it out. You go in the market. My father used to take me in the market after Asr or just before Maghrib, and they're fighting and cursing each other, and they're all frustrated because it's Maghrib and it's hot. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said, فَلَا يَصْخَبْ وَلَا يَرْفُث, in many hadith. In another, فَلَا يَرْفُث وَلَا يَفْسُقْ. Okay, do not waste your time. In Ramadan is a golden moment. Do not waste your time. Some people, another one is also, some people don't travel thinking it's better not to travel because you're fasting. There's no proof for that. They think that if they travel, they gotta break their fast, and that it's better for them to stay a resident than travel. If you want to travel, travel. If you want to break your fast while you're traveling, break it. If you want to travel and stay fasting, stay fasting. The next one is not to follow the command of not to follow the sunnah of i'tikaf while you can do it. I mean, if you have other things, you're occupied in other things, that's a different story. But if you can do it, why not do it? 10 days like the Prophet ﷺ did it throughout his life. Some people think in Ramadan you cannot cut your nails or your hair or the other kind of hair that the Prophet ﷺ ordered us to cut. You can do that in Ramadan and there's no problem and no deterrence from not doing that. Some people say you shouldn't swallow spit, your saliva. You can swallow saliva as big as it is or small as it is, with the exception of, what do we call the green stuff? Yeah, I know in English, Arabic, but I want in English. Huh? Mucus. You should spit it out. But even if it happens that he swallows it, that's no problem. البلغم مش شو قلت انت؟ بلغم أو النخامة. Okay. One of the mistakes is extensively making madmada and istinshaq. Extensively. You should make madmada and istinshaq, but not as what's wrong? You don't like that? But not as extensive as in other days.
He said extensively making what?
Extensively
making what?
Madmada and istinshaq, gargle, and taking in the water from your nose. The last point, and the one we conclude with, how many you got, Yusuf?
24.
That's pretty good. That's more than enough.
28.
You have 28?
No, I missed one.
Take from Saeed.
About perfume, some people think that perfume is not allowed during Ramadan. Cannot smell.
Well, like, what was it?
You know what Ibn Uthaymeen went on when he was talking about perfume. He even went on to say, the stuff that if you have asthma you use. He said you can use it because that's only in the lungs. It doesn't go to your stomach. It has no effect on that. He said that I was surprised to see that actually. I know about the perfume, but even that, because it does have some taste to it. I think he had asthma too. No, seriously, I think he did. Because I remember when we used to sit with him, he breathed like someone who has asthma sometimes.
It said you could take shots and it doesn't, if it's only shots.
Ibn Uthaymeen?
Actually, if it's not nutrition, it's okay. The shots are okay.
Why not if it's not nutrition?
If it's nutrition, then it will break the fast. But if it's not a nutrition...
What's the difference?
Benzene. No, the other one you can survive on it. You don't need to eat.
Yeah, but the non-nutrition one has an effect on you. Like, it could be Tylenol or whatever. The purpose of it is that it's going to float in your blood and cause an effect on you. Whether you took it from your mouth or you took it. The nutrition one, for sure. That one breaks your fast. No one denies that. But the other one, if you take it like a medicine in your mouth, you swallow it, it's going to take effect on you. It's the end of it is going to float in your blood. And if you take it as a shot, it's still going to affect you. So why would one be...
It's the method, they say. That one goes through the stomach, the other one goes through the blood. That's the reasoning. I've read a booklet by Sam Al-Khosi. He mentioned that. I think that the fatwa by Ibn Uthaymeen.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I read there's two opinions because these are new stuff that we don't have, direct hadith on it. That's why I was thinking, I remember where I read that the end effect of it is the same. That it goes in the blood, whether you take it by your mouth or whether you take it in a shot. Actually, sometimes, I remember when my hand burned, they told me, do you want to take the medicine, the painkiller in your mouth, or do you want to take a shot, which is going to be faster?
The shot.
The shot took immediate effect. But, it's the same thing. But, Allahu A'lam. This is what we'll end with. Jazakum Allah khair. And رمضان مبارك تقبل الله إن شاء الله يتقبل منا ومنكم جزاكم الله خير ما حكم التهني برمضان يا دكتور؟ تهني برمضان إن تقول مبارك عليك دخول رمضان. النكست تايم عثمان's not here وأنا بدي بهدله اللي ما حكى اللي ما بعث الإيميل. شو حكم التهني برمضان؟
كان المسلمين يعني ما أعرف إذا كان يهنوا بعضهم، لكن كان المسلمين ينتظروا 6 شهور يقولون رمضان، و6 شهور يعني يطلبوا من الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يتقبل لهم منهم رمضان. يعني 6 شهور يدعو الله أن يتقبل رمضان، 6 شهور مقبلة يدعو الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يأتي رمضان حتى يعني يأخذ الأجر الكبير. أما التقبل يعني زي العيد ما في شيء وارد، ما قرأت أي شيء عنه. لكن العيد ما قرأ يعني تقبل الله منا ومنكم رب اغفر لي ولأخي في يعني أدعية للعيد يوم العيد يعني بعد رمضان. أما الدخول رمضان ما أعرف شيء، ما سمعت شيء.
غريب انه سمعت لاحد التابعين يقول ولماذا لا نهنئ بعضنا بدخول شهر يعني تصفد فيه الشياطين وتفتح، بس ما في حديث مباشر.
يعني هو الغير مباشر انه كان الصحابي ينتظر رمضان، والانتظار هو يعني يعني هو نوع من التهنئة النفسية. إذا أنا أنتظر مثلا عالم جاء كذا وانتظر غائب عني، هذا نوع من التهنئة النفسية لنفسي يعني. لكن ما في شيء مثلا ما في مثل رمضان مثل العيد مثلا في نص تفضل الله منكم رب اغفر لي ولأخي.
وأظن مستيك سجل شوفوا الآخر.
أعتقد أن الشرط كمان
اللي ما حكيناها صحيح لأن حكيناها اليوم السودان.
في بعض الناس يظن نزل منه دم، بعض الناس إنه مثلا في اليمن مثلا عندهم هذه موجودة. إذا تزوج إنسان في رمضان خلال رمضان يظن إنه لازم يفطر لأنه متزوج جديد وفطروا. أخبرني مرة كان شيخ في اليمن قال هذه موجودة في القرآن، يظن إنه تتزوج في رمضان يجب أن يفطر. لا إنه عريس لازم يفطر. هكذا يظن يعني من الشغلات التي الموجودة في ذكرها عن المشايخ الجاهل اليمن. يعني بعض الأشياء اللي في بلادنا مثلا الخزعبلات اللي بتصير فوانيس رمضان، تعرف تصير رمضانية
شو هي؟
فوانيس رمضان زي النصارى زي بسموها خميس البيض، يعملوا فوانيس يعني يوضوها يعني يتشبهوا بالنصارى.
الشجر ومشجر؟
غير الشجرة، فانوس ورقي مزينه يعني في رمضان. هذا مش يعني بعض الشغلات. يعني في شغلات مختصة من بلد لبلد على فكرة، كلتشر تأثير كلتشرالي إفكتس.
أعتقد أن الناس بدها شيء يترفع عنها والحكومات يعني وفي البلاد المخصصة يعني.
الآن في رمضان أصبح شهر رمضان هو شهر الفوانيس، شهر الليالي حساب الليل ونطلع ميكسينج وكذا. رمضان حتى النصارى كيف رمضان؟ لأنه في هذه الأيام يوميا يصير حفلات هي انتنس يعني يصير
الفلات وشاي وبيبسي وغنائم ورقص
إلى الفجر.
ويريد الذين يتبعون الشهوات أن يميلوا ميلا عظيما.
You see like most of like in Sham and all that.
Exactly.
After like the iftar, you see them like in restaurants and all stuff, like they were gathered and start smoking.
Yeah, it's not
parties, music, mixing. Yeah, it's in similar. I was there last year. No, last year I was here for about the year before.
Another one you said was that if you throw up on accident, it doesn't break your fast, right?
If you what?
Yes.
Throw up on accident.
If you throw up by accident, it's no problem.
But
if you force yourself directly or indirectly, you break your fast. That is, for example, you know, if you smell this kind of perfume, you're going to throw up. And you did it intentionally. So you didn't put your hands and mouth to get it out. You know this will make you throw up, and you did. You have to make it up.
What if the doctor asked you to throw up on purpose? You were told to throw up on purpose and all that.
You know, Salah, your questions are worse than Yusuf's.
Shouldn't.
For what reason though?
There's a kind of
Hypothetical question. We have a hypothetical answer.
No, it is or not. That's why I'm asking.
خلينا نشرب القهوة. يلا دكتور الحقنا على البيت.
لا بنروح.
شو بدنا نروح؟ القهوة ما شربناها، نسيت احطها.
يا اخي حق عليك.
You know how to turn this off? هلا بحطه على مساي بقولوا شوفوا كيف هذا